Hey everybody, welcome back to Row Country and welcome if you are new. Today we are doing a Trash to Treasure Dollar Tree DIY Witch Gnome for Halloween 2020. That's right, those empty bottles became these gorgeous Trash to Treasure Witch Gnomes. And if you want to see how that happened, you need to stay tuned. Okay, everybody, jumping right in. The first thing you're going to want to get is an empty water bottle. One of these just pretend hair bands from the Dollar Tree. Now, everything else coming across your screen are items that are optional and sort of necessary for the project. They will be listed in the description box below. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time going through every single little item in the beginning of this video. Just know that today's video, we are really focusing on the Purple Witch because those were the items that are readily available right now at your Dollar Tree. And I recommend if you're going to do any of these witches, that would be the first one that we start with. So definitely check out the description box below for all of the items that you're going to need to put together a basic witch. Okay, so I'm starting with some of this Elmer's glue. It goes on purple, dries clear. The reason I decided to use that over some hot glue in the bottom of this bottle is so that I would know exactly when these beans were set up inside, and we're going to use those to give this witch some weight. So put some glue in the bottom of your bottle, pour over some glue, and then you're really going to have to let this sit aside to dry and set up. That's why I like this glue, because I knew exactly when that was completed. But give it some time, guys. That the drying time on the glue in this manner is going to be the longest part of this entire DIY for you. But it dries clear, so it's in purple, and so we'll just set that aside to dry. Now, I'm making 3 witches, but as I said, today's video, we're going to really focus on this purple one. You want to remove these little hats from the headband, and you want to deconstruct it. So take off the webbing or the netting on that. You want to take off the ribbon and put that aside. We're going to keep that little gem. That is important because in the end result, that is something that I do end up putting back on. The black netting is going to go on my black witch. You're not going to see me work on that, but just know that you want to keep that. Open up the bottom of this little hat and take some Dollar Tree empty bags. Those are the saddest things in the world, aren't they? And put them inside of the hat. Shove that up there really, really well. I used about 2 bags. You want to do that so that the hat itself retains its shape, but the rest of it will be malleable, and we'll need that when we are putting together the face of the witch. So what I decided to do was take some of this sparkle mesh from Dollar Tree. It is gorgeous in this purple, and I just took some of this and cut it into 11-inch strips. And what I did was I just layered these, really. I went around the hat, not completely, just really on the back and the sides, you'll see there. And then I took 2 more pieces and I overlapped them to give us the fullness that this little hat now has. And then I took about a 9-inch strip and folded that in 4, and then I brought it around the hat in this manner so that it would finish off and you won't see where we actually put a lot of the glue. Another thing I did was I took 1 more piece, about 11 inches, and I did attach that to the front of the hat and simply folded it over. Attached it with some hot glue in the front and the back, and then we'll go ahead and attach the banding around the hat. By layering the mesh in strips really gives this some fullness. Add that band and put that little gem on and you're good to go. Okay, so next up, let's talk about your options for the nose and also a hand for your witch. You can go 100% Dollar Tree, guys, if you want. I picked these up at Michael's on clearance for 50 cents for the package. What I like about them is they're rounded on the front and have that hole and sort of flat there on the back. And that's what I'm going to use for my nose for my witches. Again, we're working on our purple witch right now. I'm going to take this little furry headband and I'm going to deconstruct it. So I'm just going to peel it away from the headband itself and remove the tag. And after that, I'm just going to go ahead and open it up so that I have two pieces like this that will be layered when we put them on the face. The next thing I want to do, I mean, what is a witch without a wart? Right, guys? So I'm going to just take some extra of this little bit of hair that's left on the band. I'm going to add some hot glue to the bead, and I'm going to layer that hot glue up so that it looks like a wart with some hair coming out of it. Like that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so, and I also went ahead and painted those. Now my bottle is completely dry. I'm going to add some hot glue to the top, screw the lid on, and then we're good to go. Now, I mentioned I needed also some hands, so I'm going to paint those other beads as well. We are going to use these men's socks, also from the Dollar Tree, guys. You get a pack of 2. That's enough to make 4 gnomes, plus some, because for these bottles, they are 16.9 ounces. I only need the top portion of these, so I'm going to just cut that below the part where most of the elastic is in the sock. We're going to take the sock, open it up, and the cut piece is going down towards the bottom with the ridge or the finished part of the sock at the top. It doesn't really matter, but that's just what I decided to do. And then I'm going to use some hot glue to go around the bottom of the bottle to completely attach the sock. And then I'm taking a little bit of felt and I'm going to cut a circle, which will then go onto the bottom of the bottle just to finish that off. Just add some hot glue and put it down in that manner and you're good to go. So that is the black hat. And I want to show you, because I didn't capture it on the purple one, but what we're going to do is we're going to sort of figure out where on our witch the nose will go. And then we have to turn over the hat and we're going to have to cut it open. So go ahead, sort of figure out where that nose is going to go and then attach it with some hot glue to the bottle and then set it aside and really let it set up. Once the nose is in place, you have to figure out how your hat is going to fit down over the top of this gnome and the hat actually coming down around the nose, much like many of the gnomes that you see. So what we have to do is actually trim open each one of these hats and get the opening large enough that you can take the top of the bottle and the remaining sock around it and really get it up inside of the hat. So for me, I found that I had to really sort of cut this open and then I had to use my fingers to move the bags inside of the hat around, sort of out of the way, so that the hat itself would fit down over this witch's nose, just like a gnome would, and it would give us air, enough space for us to have some hair. And this is what the one that I finished looks like for this video. This is the purple one. The hair is really layered. It's pulled around the nose. The hat itself comes down around, and you can do 3 witches just like this so inexpensively. And guys, this just turned out so adorable. I absolutely love it. Now guys, every witch needs a broom, and I found this cinnamon fragranced broom at Dollar Tree recently in the fall section, and it is big enough that I could get 3 of the brooms that I needed for these witches out of just this one cinnamon scented broom. And what's amazing about it is it smells so good. So now when you walk past the display of my 3 witches in my home, you get this scent of fall but you're not really sure where it's coming from, and it's really coming from the witches. So grab yourself one of these if you see them. Grab a few because they're going to go quick, and all you need to do is deconstruct it. So take all of the parts that are keeping it together, sort of snip them apart, and then pull the broom apart into 3 separate pieces. They don't have to be the same size, just, however you want it to be, that's how you should go with it. I'm using the larger of the 3 pieces for my black witch. Of course, I'm making 3 witches. You would only need 1 if you're only making 1. Now take some brown apple barrel paint, and I'm taking some of these wooden dowels from the Dollar Tree. They're going to fit perfectly into those other little beads that I also painted in the chalk paint to match the nose. I'm going to take the brown paint and I'm sort of just going to stain these little wooden dowels. You can paint them and not wipe off the excess, but that's what I did just to give it sort of a stained look. You can paint just one side of this since the other side will be attached to the actual gnome. You won't really see the back, but for me, I like to just go all out, so I painted all of these completely around. When that is done, you'll take the bunches of that little broom that you took apart, and you'll take some twine. Now, I also paint my twine to match, but you don't have to. I think I like the contrast. Actually, as I look back at this video, I like the contrast of the twine against that brown, but in the moment, I decided I was going to paint that to match. So I did. Once everything was dried, again, I just took the bunches of the broom, attached it with the twine with a little bit of hot glue to these wooden dowels, and then I attached the beads to the gnome on the side so that the broom would go through the bead to make it look as though the witch is actually holding on to her broom. Okay, so now we're going to work on the bubbling cauldron. I mean, what is a gathering of witches without a cauldron to stand around? So I'm using these items from the Dollar Tree. Again, everything is linked in the description box below. I really found that that tin with the magnet on the back was the perfect size to sort of fit down inside of the cauldron itself. And I'm going to use one of those little stickers. You'll see 2, but I end up in the end just using 1 to cover where it says Happy Halloween. I really want this to be a Halloween decor item, but I don't necessarily need it to scream, hey, this is a Halloween decor item, if that makes sense. So this little wooden sticker from the Dollar Tree that's already glittered up in orange was the perfect size to really just cover that for me. All I did was take some hot glue and attach it to the front. As I said, I also did it on the back, but then at the end, I really decided that 1 was enough, especially since the way that I have this whole entire set up in my home. You don't even see the back of this. So go ahead and attach some hot glue if that's what you want to do. You could also use some chalk paint to cover this. The plastic on this I don't think would take acrylic paint super well, but the chalk paint would work really well. So I did not use this actual gray little piece to drop down into my cauldron. I actually bring in a pink one that doesn't match my decor at all, and I did take the little magnet off the back. Actually, the magnet kept falling off, and instead of just hot gluing it back on, I decided to use it for this project. And I did just take some hot glue around the edge of this little piece and drop it down in there. Now, you can leave it just like this if you want to, but I decided that I was going to take some black chalk paint, the color Ink by Waverly, and I do paint the inside of that pink piece, and I also paint all the way around this pink edge on the top. But what I don't do is get paint on the plastic piece. You want to keep that open so that when you apply the gems and you put these little lights down inside, these are the flickering lights that change color. These are so amazing. I'm actually going to be able to fit 2 of these down inside of this cauldron, which gives the light from underneath a lot of vibrance. But all you're going to do is just drop them down in there. You don't attach them with hot glue at all. And you really want that light to come through that top piece. So be sure that if you get any of your paint on that, you wipe that away. So as I said, I'm just going to go ahead and paint this up, and then we'll move on to the next step. Now, once everything is dry, I'm going to go ahead and bring in these gems that I also picked up at the Dollar Tree. And I'm not going to use really any rhyme or reason. I really am just going to use some hot glue, and I'm going to use these gems and cover the entire transparent part or the top of this little tin. It's actually, I keep calling it a tin, it's actually a plastic piece, and it's actually the larger of these that you can pick up at the Dollar Tree. This is not the smaller set of two, it's the one that you purchase by itself. Anyway, I'm using these gems and I'm going to hot glue them to the top of this and cover the entire top, as you'll see. Guys, I didn't even keep count, but this is what it looks like from underneath, and this is what it looks like on the top. And that is going to just literally sit down inside of the cauldron in that manner. And because of the way that these are, you can use your fingers to lift this off of the bottom piece. So don't worry about not being able to do that. And in fact, when you put these lights down in, the very tip top of those actually keep this lid lifted quite a bit away from the bottom piece, but it sits nice and flat. You don't realize that it's not connected. The next thing I'm going to do is start adding in some bubbles, and I'm using just random pearls from the Dollar Tree to do that. All I'm doing is adding them off to the side. It's actually coming down off of the right side of this as you're looking at it. And once I got the main pearls in place, now I want them to sort of droop over the side or spill over the side of this. And all I'm going to do is take some other pearls and I'm going to layer them on the side just like this. Now again, there is no rhyme or reason. The only thing you want to do is make sure that the pearls on the outside do not get attached to the upper lip of this cauldron so that there's nothing keeping the piece in the bottom from being lifted out. As you can see here, I've got the piece on top. This is what it looks like in darker situations. These are two of those tea lights in the bottom of this cauldron, just filling it up with that color, and it just has nowhere to go but out, and it is so beautiful. Honestly, for a Halloween item to be so pretty is just insane. But guys, this is what they look like. These are my 3 Dollar Tree DIY Witch Gnomes for Halloween 2020. I was able to get 3 of them made from Dollar Tree items. This is an orange one, and I used a different type of hair from the Dollar Tree dress up section. It just, with that little bead, she's got her hand there holding her cinnamon smelling little broom. And I'm telling you, honestly, when you walk by these, it's just that whiff of fall. And oh, and here's the purple one that we really focused on today. Again, guys, just the little details that Dollar Tree did with some of their Halloween items that you're able to just pull together and make something so cute. This is trash to treasure, guys. This was an empty water bottle. We've been drinking a lot of water lately in our home, and I just was like, what can I do besides throw these away? And amazingly, I was able to get 3 of these witches put together. I've been told that these lean Sanderson sisters, and if they do for you, that's great. For me, I was just kind of playing around to see what I could do. This is what it looks like in the dark, guys. It's all lighting up. I really love how those bubbles from this cauldron are just a nice little touch to this cauldron. I considered using some cotton balls and kind of pulling those apart and making it look like there was maybe some steam coming out of this. But really, for me, this is really leaning more kind of high-end decor from trash to treasure. And I really, really hope that you guys are feeling inspired. These are items that you can get at your Dollar Tree right now, that you can grab today, over the weekend. Grab these up, get some of that hair, get some of those socks, find those little witch hats. I've seen them on the pegs, guys. They are, you know, they're there. And if maybe you have some from last year, like I did, you can pull these out and just make some trash to treasure with witch gnomes for yourself. I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't already, and go ahead and watch another video while you're here. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.